Ladies and gentlemen, do not adjust your television. It is really 2023, and for the first time in history, a president is being indicted and will face criminal charges. This is all just such great news, such great news.
I was proven even more right than I would have ever imagined, because apparently, there is actually indicting my father. So,
great orange leader. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe prayer does work.
This is like communist level shit. 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 This is like communist level shit.
Great orange leader. Dear God. God forbid, Donnie boy. God forbid, Donnie boy. Great orange leader. Dear God. God forbid, Donnie boy. God forbid, Donnie boy.
This is like communist level shit. This is like communist level shit. This is like communist level shit. This is like communist level shit.
I think that's about all we need to hear.
You gotta get him on, Pat. You gotta get him on.
Great to be here.
You gotta get him on, Pat. You gotta get him on. Get him on, 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 get him on,
No.
For the people that don't know, if you can take a quick moment, you got a massive YouTube channel. You got billions of views online. Your mom supports socialism or no?
No.
You like the fact that U.S. is liked more today?
No.
Think Hillary's good?
Did I say that? No.
So you're saying that the middle voter doesn't matter at all?
No. Tangent.
Keep going.
Tangent.
Seriously? Keep going.
Tangent.
Keep going.
Tangent.
Seriously? Keep going. What are you talking about? Keep going.
What are you talking about?
Keep going. What are you talking about? Keep going. What are you talking about? That's insane.
What? Failure. Patrick. Failure. What are you talking about? What? Failure.
That's not it.
Patrick. I think you're missing the picture.
I'm smelling bad. I'm not shaking.
You're not really doing this, are you?
And I think it's it.
Is that an energy drink now?
It is owned by Tesla, by the way. It's Elon's drink. No, it's not. I don't.
Uh-oh. Mangoes?
My bag of mangoes.
Uh-oh. I love mangoes too.
99 cents. Okay. Now that we are up under Biden's regime, my bag of mangoes now costs $11.99.
That seems like a pretty good deal. A bag of mangoes? Aren't mangoes like $3 each? That's it. I want what, $8 or $11. That sounds right.
The American people will lie. And highway robbery is what you're doing. Bring my mangoes back down. My bag of mangoes. My bag of mangoes.
Mangoes?
My bag of mangoes. Bring my mangoes back down. Raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit. Bring my mangoes back down.
The Wisconsin crowd identified with the mangoes.
Disproportionately affected the American people. Don't want me to be healthy. Don't want me to be healthy. And highway robbery is what you're doing. Don't raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price of fruit. Don't raise the price
I have with me David Pakman. He is a progressive host and executive producer of the nationally syndicated radio and TV program, The David Pakman Show. And I wanted to talk to David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. Some beta males. David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. Some beta males.
Can you remind the audience, when you talk about being a beta male and being an alpha male, what are we talking about here?
There are males, most men today.
Yeah.
Male. They think and act like a woman. They're emotional. They are mentally off. They have no logic. And that's a beta male. They go along with homosexuality.
Hold on, whoa, Jesse, we gotta, that's a lot.
LGBTQ.
That's a lot,
They
hold on.
agree with everything that's raw. Abortion, they think and act just like a woman. A beta male does. But another beta male doesn't, because he's a logical thinking. And they're controlled by the darkness of David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. Some beta males. David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. Some beta males. David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. Some beta males. David Pakman. He is a beta male. David Pakman. He is a beta male. Some beta males. David, you're not here to communicate. I really appreciate you coming on. I'm going to let you go. It's a waste of time to talk to you. We're not communicating. You're acting like an idiot.
Because you're asking bizarre questions.
You're
and not
acting
answering
like an
any of them.
idiot, and you're wasting my time. I appreciate
ad
you
hominem.
coming. All right, thank
an
you
ad
for
hominem,
coming.
so you know
Goodbye. Goodbye. Let him know. That's a progressive vote. All men who are progressive, or males who...
All right, everybody, enough of that. We are here because Ron DeSantis, Rob DeSanctimonious, Ron DeSanctus, Meatball Ron Dishonest. You know who I'm talking about. He is announcing his candidacy for the presidency of the United States momentarily. He is doing so in a less than typical fashion. Something's very wrong with my hair. He is going to be doing it on Elon Musk's Twitter momentarily, as you can see, scheduled for just 12 minutes from now. And I have absolutely no idea what to expect. For those questioning whether DeSantis truly is running, here is the statement of organization filed today at 2:33 p.m. Eastern Time. Ron DeSantis for president, based in Tallahassee, Florida. This is a Republican Party candidacy seeking the presidential office. The treasurer is Caitlin Tortorici, and DeSantis's grift funds will be kept at Chain Bridge Bank in McLean, Virginia. If anybody has any further questions about that, contact Caitlin. I don't know what to tell you. So he is indeed running. Let's look at some of the early reaction to this. Here is Marjorie Taylor Greene slamming DeSantis because he is announcing on Twitter.
You don't announce that you're running for president of the United States in some kind of little Twitter world. It's not a real world. Twitter is not real. So I can't comprehend why that would be the place to do the announcement. It makes no sense to me. And it's not serious.
There you go. And as we know, Marjorie Taylor Greene, there is no better arbiter of what is serious than Marjorie Taylor Greene. By the way, yesterday she said that she didn't wear the vaccine. I don't even know what that means, but okay. Then we go to Fox News. Fox News also ridiculing that this will happen on Twitter Spaces.
Hey, Lucas, so he's going to make the big announcement with Elon Musk at 6 o'clock tonight on Twitter Spaces. Right. What the heck is Twitter Spaces?
I wish I knew more about it, Steve, to be quite honest.
I think he's trying
Explosive reporting from Fox News.
to make it
Sounds like a
bigger,
video
right?
function.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, we've
There's
heard
a
that
button
they want to do some
somewhere.
streaming and some podcasts and that kind of thing. I think it's fascinating that they're using social media as a way to announce.
It's just absolutely fascinating, as you can see. Donald Trump rolling out a new anti-DeSantis ad. Really, the floodgates have opened, wherein he attacks DeSantis as a swamp creature.
Trump defeats the 2016. President Trump defeats the liberals and heads to Washington to drain the swamp. But swamp creature Ron DeSantis is about to start his third term in Congress, and he's already voted repeatedly to cut Social Security and Medicare. 2017, Trump passes huge tax cuts for nearly everyone. And Ron DeSantis, he's pushing a bill that would swap those tax cuts for a new 23% national sales tax.
Now, that's pretty dishonest. I don't know. Does anybody in my audience know what the 23% thing is with DeSantis? Just as a very informal survey, yes, no in the chat. Do you even know what that's about? Because it's actually extraordinarily dishonest what Trump is doing. I'm not saying I'm for or against it. Everybody's a no. DeSantis had the idea of replacing income taxes and estate taxes and a bunch of other taxes with one flat 23% sales tax for everybody. This would have been a massive handout to the very rich. So while it is not wrong that DeSantis had this idea, it wasn't just like add 23% tax to everybody. It's crazy, right? So it's extraordinarily dishonest. Now, I would be against it, but in order to even talk about it honestly, you have to admit what it is.
Making families pay more. 2018.
Yeah, it would make rich people pay much less.
Trump is building the wall, securing the border, fighting the invasion, while Ron DeSantis is voting against funding for Trump's wall. In Washington, one was a leader and one let us down. Even DeSantis admitted there are big differences between him and Trump.
Obviously there is, because I voted contrary to him in the
Trump defeats the
Okay.
26.
It's all very, very stupid, as you can all tell. And then desperate for relevance is Nikki Haley. I know many of you are like, wait, Nikki Haley's still running. She is. She is desperate for relevance. And the best she can come up with is just scaling up anti-trans rhetoric. She's like, I don't know, no one's paying attention to me. What if I become a transphobe? Here's what she came up with earlier today.
We've got biological boys playing in girls' sports. It is the women's issue of our time. Where is everyone? My daughter ran track in high school. I wouldn't even know how to have that conversation with her. How do we get our girls comfortable with biological boys in their locker room? It's not okay. Everybody know about Dylan Mulvaney? Bud Light, right?
There you go. Everybody know about that?
Make no mistake. That is a guy dressed up like a girl making fun of women. Women don't act like that. Yet everybody's wondering why a third of our teenage girls seriously contemplated suicide last year?
Yeah, actually, we have data about why so many teenage girls had suicidal ideation. Unrestricted access to social media for 13 to 17-year-olds, in particular girls, seems to be absolutely toxic. Absolutely toxic. So Nikki Haley is kind of like, no one's paying attention to me. Maybe I'll make some transphobic comments. Now, tomorrow on the program, the podcast, the PCast, as the kids these days call it, I will break down a little more this issue of so-called men in women's sports. And you really have to give the subject fair treatment, I would say. In many sports, it actually doesn't really matter. In the sports where muscle mass seems to be a determining characteristic of an advantage, you then have to say, well, okay, what do we do in those particular sports? And it's a relatively small number. Some people have said ban trans women from participating. Others have said set up a system. NCAA has done this already. It's set up a system where doctors essentially sign off based on hormonal levels to say you can participate. Others have said start a third category for trans athletes. You know, none of these solutions is perfect. But the point is, you take all issues, then you say, well, gender issues, issues related to trans, then you go issues related to trans sports. You go, okay, within that, it's trans women because, you know, nobody's saying, oh, kick the trans men out of sports. And then the sports within that slice that it makes a difference in. And that's where we have to figure it out. So it's like, you know, these people pretending that this is the foremost issue. She says it's the number one issue for her daughter or whatever. She's out of her mind. Some people say ban sports. That's another idea. Some very, very strange things happening behind me as people can tell. All right, we are moments away from the Ron DeSantis campaign launch. Let me thank some really great people: Crowbars Forever, Mechanically Reclaimed Meat, New Hampshire Fog, and Breezy for the Twitch Prime subscriptions. That pushes us to 6. Huge thank you to Jason Sickmeyer and Kevin Gouldy, each of whom just gifted subscriptions at joinpacman.com. Folks, we are in it. We are in the 2024 Republican primary. I would venture to say that this primary, as a contested primary, the likes of which we will never have seen in retrospect when it's over, starts today. And I implore you to sign up on my website using this code 24 starts now. 24 starts now. That will save you gobs of cash at joinpacman.com. Jake Russo just did it and signed up on my website. Thank you, Jake. Jake is new member number 9 today. Couple other updates. The David Pakman Spotify album is really, really, really close to completion. Honestly, what we're waiting right now before distribution is an album cover. What we're workshopping right now is me in a sea of mangoes, sort of like a ball pit, but it's mangoes instead of a ball pit. We have one person working on it. If other people want to make submissions, the thing to look up if you want to make a submission for the album cover, and then maybe we can even do a contest, is Google CD Baby. We're using CD Baby for distribution. CD Baby album art requirements. And it'll tell you exactly what the specs are. If you'd like to make a submission, send it to info@davidpakman.com. So that's happening soon. Very soon, the children's book on critical thinking will be available for pre-order. And we're going to be looking at pre-orders so strongly that you can't even imagine. Potentially, I mean, I think if we launch the pre-orders correctly, we have a shot at making some kind of Amazon list for children's book. And I think that would be an absolutely beautiful, beautiful thing to do. Okay, we are moments away from this major announcement in which Ron DeSantis will say he is running. Big thank you to Desiree DeLong, who just signed up on my website using the coupon code 24 starts now. Also, thanks to Ocean Phantom for re-upping the Twitch Prime subscription. Very much appreciate it. People asking, how long is this event going to be? I have no idea. No idea. Will our book on critical thinking be banned in Florida? Honestly, that's a damn good question. There are people who wrote to me and said, David, when the book is out, I'm going to buy a bunch of copies and send them, make them available, give them to school libraries. I don't think it's out of the question that Florida might ban our book on critical thinking for kids. And if that happens, you know I will tell you, and we will get as much mileage out of that as possible. Let's go to some super chats. Any thoughts on Brian Tyler Cohen hitting 2 million subscribers on YouTube? I didn't know that he did, but congratulations to Brian. Brian and I chat frequently. It's funny. I essentially don't use my phone. I just don't use it. I don't talk on the phone. One of the only people I talk to on the phone is Brian Tyler Cohen. He will just randomly call me. And yeah, congratulations to him. That's awesome. And we want to get there as soon as we can, folks. As soon as we can. We want to get to 2 million as well. KG says, why did you call your show a PCast? Did the urine drinking have an effect on the show? Exactly right. Very clever. Very, very extraordinarily clever. Welcome to Alexander Lensicki, who just signed up at joinpacman.com with the coupon code 24 starts now. Welcome to Nashawn Farabi, who is new member 13 today on the website with the coupon code 24 starts now. We are standing by on Elon Musk's Twitter Spaces. This event is scheduled to start. Oh, here we go. Here we go. It is starting. See what's going on here. I don't know why we can't hear anything. Anybody know if it's actually started yet? Why aren't we able to hear anything? Do you know? Do we know what's going on? I mean, we're in. Jenna Ellis is here. It hasn't started yet. Okay, very, very good. Very good. Let's see if we can crop this correctly. Here we go. Yeah, see, look at some of the people here. Tomi Lahren is there. Trump's former lawyer, Jenna Ellis, is here. A lot of interesting folks here. Justin Amash. All right, so we're standing by. Will it crash? That's a good question. That's a good question. All right, okay, so this is starting any second. Any second. Welcome to Blood Buzz Corio and Beth Graham. Thank you for the Twitch Prime subscriptions. Very much appreciate it. Super chats continuing to come in. Sebastian Amanoff says nothing with a 20 euro super chat. Very much appreciate that. Let's see if we can dump in a voicemail or two before they start here. See what we got.
Hey, Dave, it's Tommy. Don't mind the audio in the background. I'm pushing my granddaughter on a swing. But I think Meatball Ron has about the same chance as a meatball covered in ketchup on the plate of one Donald J. Trump.
Oh, yeah. That's an important... So, I mean, listen, if we want to look at the polling, DeSantis's polling is basically in the toilet, but since news broke, what is happening with my hair? It's crazy. I got a haircut today. I haven't showered yet. It's just a mess. I might as well just embrace it. Let's just do this. There we go. DeSantis has gotten a little bump from the news that he would be announcing. So I don't know. I mean, Trump doesn't need any more support. He's over 50% already. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Let's see what else we've got here. 90,000 people are standing by for this event. By the way, it genuinely hasn't started, right? Because we can't hear anything, but I think it's just, let's see, nothing's muted. Okay, it seems like it just hasn't started yet. Mike Boy for Mayor and Harry have just re-upped Twitch Prime subscriptions. Very much appreciate that. Welcome to you guys. Also, a big thank you to Jim Frank and Marta Garcia, both of whom just signed up on my website. Folks, I consider that the 2024 Republican primary really starts today. And as a result, we have launched the coupon code 24 starts now. I invite you to join your fellow, fellow critical thinkers at joinpacman.com and use that coupon code 24 starts now. Other super chats coming in. Tristan says, will anything stop Republicans doing this debt ceiling random BS every time they get a chance? Is there any sort of safeguard possible? Can I be totally honest with you guys? I am not even paying attention. Wow, my hair is so staticky. It's crazy. I'm not even paying attention to the debt ceiling thing because there are so many other things going on. And it's the same routine every, 18 months. And I know that it will affect people if we default. But it's just, how much time am I going to devote to the exact same circular thing? People are saying test out another Twitter space to see if we have audio. Let's see. Twitter Spaces. Let's see what we have here. It's not clear to me how to even find other spaces. Anybody know? It seems there's no audio yet. No audio. Can anyone in the audience confirm that there is not yet any audio from this event? Anybody? Confirmed. Okay, very good. Very, very good. Very good. Yeah, Farron Cousins texted me this morning and he said, I want to direct people to some other way to see the DeSantis announcement rather than Twitter. Are you streaming? And I said, I am. I would very much suggest just listen on our stream in order to reduce the traffic on Twitter to the extent that we care about that. I don't know. That's something. Thanks to Bowflex Man as well as Alice for the Twitch Prime subscriptions. Very much appreciate that. You know what? Let's do this. If we get to 100 during the stream, I'll open up the phone lines right after the DeSantis announcement. Ron DeSantis has joined, so we should be hearing something very soon. Very, very soon. Absolutely. Let's listen to a couple other voicemails. People's thoughts.
Hello, this is JT Colfax from Colorado.
What?
And your program today brought up a weird thing between me and my sister because we text about politics, and I had to start referring to Ron DeSantis as Ron just to make it easy to text. And I was wondering if you or anyone else out there can think of a better, shorter or name to call this freak.
Yeah, the freak. Wrong DeSantis is one that a lot of people seem to like, but I'm not big on the nicknames. I really am not. Okay, thanks to the Phantom Menace for a $50 super chat. Never underestimate anyone, not even Meatball Rob. Anything is possible. I like the Jared Leto 30 Seconds to Mars look, by the way, David. Keep up the great work. I love you, Dad. Okay, very good. Very much appreciate that. Other super chats coming in. Sebastian says, will the primary damage Trump's general election chances? Depends how the primary goes. Depends how many more times Trump gets arrested and indicted. It seems like it will be like at least once more. I don't know. But, there's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts surrounding this campaign. That's for damn sure. That's for damn sure. Rated Roy and Snordsd have re-upped Twitch Prime subscriptions, as has K12412, putting us at 24 for the evening. We should be just moments away from the start. Oh, here we go. Oh boy, we've got an audio problem already. Thanks to Cubamus for the Twitch Prime subscription.
Now it's quiet.
Someone's whispering. Did you hear that? That was DeSantis whispering. Did you guys hear that?
All right. Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, everyone, depending on wherever in the world you're joining us from. I'm broadcasting live from Twitter headquarters. It's David Sachs here. Elon is sitting next to me, and we want to welcome you to this historic Twitter Spaces event, and more broadly, a first in the history of social media. Tonight, I'm pleased to introduce two individuals who've done more to loosen the. Sure.
We just lost audio. The audio's gone. This is a historic event. Oh, God. Oh, dear God. Isn't this the best? I just love it. Thanks, Andre, for the Twitch Prime subscription. So they got about, what was that, 20 seconds in? Absolutely historic event.
All right, sorry about that. We've got so many people here that I think we are kind of melting the servers.
They're melting.
Is a good sign. All right, I'd like to just introduce the folks in the room here.
This is great.
It's safe to say we wouldn't be making history without the man sitting next to me, Elon Musk. His decision to purchase this platform last year to restore its original mission as a beacon for free speech, and even to expose Twitter's past complicity with a government censorship regime, might have surprised many, but not those of us who've known and worked with Elon for nearly a quarter century. His commitment to freedom.
Oh, boy, we got a feedback.
His mouth is upset the narrative control imposed on us by our government, elite institutions, and corporate media. Go ahead and send a heart up if you want to say thank you, Elon.
No, thank you.
Governor DeSantis first drew my attention and support when I saw how he responded to the COVID pandemic, and refused to believe what we now know to be the many falsehoods that government experts and their media mouthpieces were feeding us. He kept Florida schools open, and its economy thriving, while my state of California chose 2 years of learning loss and lockdowns that we have yet to fully.
We lost audio again. Wow. 3 major audio breakdowns in the first 3 minutes. This is going so well. This is just the best. DeSantis is gone. I just realized DeSantis is gone from the event. Oh God, this is the best. It is historic. I have to admit, guys, they're right. It is absolutely historic. This is the best. David, you got your audio glitch wish. On the podcast today, I said, what I'm hoping for is major technology problems during this historic event. And this is overperforming even my estimates. This is as disastrous as a SpaceX launch. Oh God. Apparently Antifa is running audio. Thanks, Rakaja, for the Twitch Prime subscription. If there's ever been a better day to use the coupon code 24 starts now on my website than today, I can't think of it. I guess everybody's gone. The guy who was speaking is gone and DeSantis is gone. Imagine if they can't even make the announcement. Like what's genius in its insanity. DeSantis already filed to run at 2:24 p.m. earlier. We know he's running, and the whole point of this event is for him to announce. And he's quite literally disconnected.
Let's see. So
now it's Elon.
Yeah, I think so.
Just to simplify that.
Now they're gone again. Fourth audio problem. Let's just tweet here.
I think we're just going to use your.
We're 6 minutes into the DeSantis Spaces event, and we're up to 4 major audio tech problems so far. Maybe prayer does work. They're off again. I guess this is the 5th issue now. Do you guys think it's possible that I willed these problems into existence?
All right, great. So let's see. So they just keep crashing, huh?
Someone in the back just said it keeps crashing.
Just a massive number of people online, so it's servers are straining somewhat.
DeSantis reportedly has released a Twitter video announcing the campaign. Continued issues, continued struggle. This is the absolute best I could have hoped for. It really is. I don't see any DeSantis Twitter video. This is his latest post. This is hilarious. On his personal page. Oh, okay. Let's see. Ron DeSantis. People. I guess it's this one. Here it is. Here's the announcement.
Our border is a disaster. Crime and...
All right, we're just reallocating more server capability to be able to handle the load here. It's really going crazy. So, I'm obviously very excited to have Governor DeSantis make this.
And he's gone. Wow, this is gold. You could not script this any more humiliatingly. This is just the best. Listen, we're not going to be on woke YouTube. Florida's where woke goes to die. We're going to do it on Twitter Spaces, and it's going to work perfectly. Man. It's over, right, guys? Like, it's over. This may be the greatest moment ever on Twitter. This may genuinely be the best moment in the history of Twitter. All right, let's look at a little more of the announcement.
Infests our cities. The federal government makes it harder for families to make ends meet, and the president flounders. But decline is a choice. Success is attainable, and freedom is worth fighting for. Righting the ship requires restoring sanity to our society, normalcy to our communities, and integrity to our institutions. Truth must be our foundation, and common sense can no longer be an uncommon virtue. In Florida, we proved that it can be done. We chose facts over fear, education over indoctrination.
Remember that Florida's completely mediocre in every category. It's in the 20s in education. It's a completely mediocre state with great weather.
Law and order over rioting and disorder. We held the line when freedom hung in the balance. We showed that we can and must revitalize America. We need the courage to lead and the strength to win. I'm Ron DeSantis, and I'm running.
Oh my God, he's going back to the old pronunciation. Do you guys know about this? He used to say his name DeSantis. And then over the last several years, he stopped that. He seems to be, he's running as a different person. He's back to DeSantis.
For president to lead our great American comeback.
Wow. This smile right here. You guys see this? This is not the smile of a guy I want to see as president of the United States. Okay. So, the Twitter Spaces event is still going, but it's basically dead. Imagine putting, think about the poetically disastrous nature of what is taking place right here. Elon Musk buys Twitter under the pretense that it's not working right and nobody, it's politically going the wrong way and all these different things. He's going to fix it. He's going to improve it. Then all of a sudden they say, we're going to make a historic announcement. We're going to get this presidential announcement. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be great. This is going to be the start of Twitter as the place for politics. We're going to be the central hub for 2024's election. And then they can't even do an audio feed. It's a stunning, stunning situation. This should end Twitter in a sense. Wow. Let's see what's going on with Trump's troth. Let's see if he's making fun of it. Tweeting polls. His collar is too big. Okay, yeah, we looked at that before. So nothing really new there. Do you guys think they're killing the event because it's just a disaster? Deeper Shades of House. Thanks for the membership. Twitter subscription. I appreciate that. Let's see what we got here. I mean, this whole thing might just be dying. I don't know if they're going to be able to even get it. Have they called it off? Does anybody know? Let's see if I refresh Elon's Twitter. Seems like I even exited the thing now. Seems dead. It does seem to have died to some degree. It's all totally glitchy. I think I got ejected, yeah. They kicked me out, it seems like. Wow, what a complete and total disaster. Complete and total. Anyone else keep getting booted? Look at it's just totally glitched. It's glitching badly. Really, really badly. People are just getting kicked out. Wow. It's totally dead. Well, guys, they promised a historic day, and I absolutely believe that we got it. It really does seem that this is a historic day. Welcome to Jay Tandaway and rubbing your rhubarb with the Twitch Prime subscriptions. I appreciate that. I mean, I guess we'll just refresh and maybe we can get TYT reported that the event is over. Oh, these people, this is just amazing. This is the best possible outcome, I have to say. Nobody suppressed anybody's speech. They quite literally just couldn't get the tech working. There's no liberal censorship. It's just all they just couldn't do it. Wow. Wow, look at this. This is really wild. It's really cancel culture. Twitter is where woke goes to die. Man. Well, interesting interesting campaign. He really is brilliant, isn't he? Who am I talking about? I don't even know. Let's see what people are saying via super chats. Won't it be great if Tucker's Twitter show goes just as well? Exactly. This event isn't even trending on Twitter. What a great disaster. Okay, we're not doing COVID right now. I don't know how much longer we wait before we say that it's dead. Isn't this disaster absolutely the best thing to ever happen on Twitter? Wow. Well, trust me, he's running. Even though the announcement was bungled, he published his own video saying he's running. Welcome, Margot. Oh, let's see. Hold on. Oh, play a recording. It's over. They've called it. I guess it's dead. I guess that's the whole thing. Let's see if we can play the end of it. Let's see how they wrapped it up. Silence. Let's see if there's anything here. Is it just silent till the very end?
Stark.
Oh wait, let's see. They said something. Hold on. There was 1 minute.
All right, I'd like to welcome Governor DeSantis for this historic.
We're just trying to get it going because there's so many people.
It's unfortunate.
I'd like to
never seen this before.
welcome Governor DeSantis for this historic.
Then now it's echoing.
We're just trying to get it going because there's so many people.
Oh my God. What an embarrassment. What an embarrassment. And then we're just listening to the last 15 seconds to see if anything else was said. It genuinely is getting better and better. 7, 6, and it seems like they just killed it. David Sachs posted a new space. Let's see. David Sachs. Whoops. Let's see. They're starting over. This one's dead as well. Okay, we'll see if we can get into this one. This is just the best thing that could possibly happen. Here we go. We're starting over. Wow. Super chats keep coming in. Check out Biden's reaction. I saw it. He said, here's a link that works. Today's podcast is stuck processing. Any word when it will be available? Please email in for tech support. I don't know what's going on. Welcome to Liana Spencer. Appreciate the Twitch Prime subscription. If you were just joining us, the first Twitter space went horribly wrong. They weren't even able to make the announcement. David Sachs now posted a new Twitter space, which we're waiting for DeSantis on. It's the worst possible rollout of what... Oh.
All right, here we go.
Here we go again. Typing. A lot of hot mic problems, huh? Okay. Does this die or not?
All right, I think we're broadcasting. Man, I think we melted the internet there.
Yeah, that was insane. Sorry. We actually doing this from David Sachs's Twitter account because it looks like doing it from mine basically broke the Twitter system. Anyway, thanks everyone for joining. We're incredibly excited to announce the to have Governor DeSantis on with us with this historic announcement, and then look forward to live Q&A from the audience. So
the audience,
with that.
Yeah, I mean, so Governor DeSantis, are you there? Can you hear us?
I'm going to try to get on.
I'm here.
Excellent. I know. I think you broke the internet there. We had over 500,000 people in one Twitter space, and it was growing by like 50,000 a minute. So, congrats on breaking the internet there.
Well, yeah. I mean, try some new things. You're gonna.
Yes.
It's adventurous. So
yes.
This is so dumb.
I think the value here is actually really high for people to hear directly from presidential candidates and to answer a Q&A live, and you can get a sense for
he hasn't even announced
how
yet,
a candidate really is, and where it's not just canned speeches and teleprompters. It's in fact, you can tell by the some of the mistakes that it's real. So with that, I guess I should turn it over to
Well, let's see. So, Governor, there's been a lot of speculation over the last couple of months about your plans.
This is terrible.
I understand that you may have an announcement to make. We've got, I think, a record audience assembled here. Probably the biggest room that's probably ever been assembled online. What would you like to tell them?
I don't think that's true. Game streamers have larger
I am
audiences.
running for president of the United States to lead our great American comeback. Look, we know our country's going in the wrong direction. We see it with our eyes and we feel it in our bones. Our southern borders collapse. Drugs are pouring into the country. Our cities are being hollowed out by spiking crime. The federal government's making it harder for the average family to make ends meet and to attain and maintain a middle-class lifestyle. And our president, well, he lacks vigor, flounders in the face of our nation's challenges, and he takes his cues from the woke mob. I don't think it has to be this way. American decline is not inevitable. It is a choice. And we should choose a new direction, a path that will lead to American revitalization. We must restore sanity to our nation. This means embracing fiscal and economic sanity. Stop pricing hardworking.
There's no way a guy with a voice this annoying becomes president, right? Like, there's just no way in hell.
Embrace American energy independence. This also means replacing the woke mind virus with reality, facts, and enduring principles. Merit must trump identity politics. We must return normalcy to our communities. America's a sovereign country. Our borders must be respected. We cannot have foreigners pouring into our country illegally by the millions. We cannot allow drug cartels to poison our population with fentanyl. Public deserves safe communities, and law and order must be maintained in American cities. We can't have inmates running the asylum.
How soon will we get an audio loop feedback situation? What do you think?
We also must reestablish integrity in our institutions. This includes the military. I'm proud to be a Navy veteran, an Iraq veteran, and I revere our services. But when revered institutions like those in our military are more concerned with matters not central to the mission, whether it's global warming or gender ideology and pronouns, morale declines and recruiting suffers. And you need to eliminate these distractions, and we need to get focused on the core mission. We also cannot have true constitutional government if the most significant issues are decided by the whims of unelected bureaucrats rather than the people's elected representatives. Reestablishing integrity in our institutions means we must reinvigorate our constitutional
This is
system
so dumb. I know.
by returning the government to its rightful owners, we the people. No social or economic transformation without representation. Truth needs to be our foundation. Common sense can no longer be an uncommon virtue. And in Florida, we proved it could be done. We chose facts over fear, education over indoctrination, law and order over rioting and disorder. We held the line when freedom hung in the balance.
If you
And
care
we're
about
thriving as a
law
result.
and
Florida is
order.
the nation's fastest growing state. We're #1 in net in-migration, #1 in new business formations, recently ranked #1 in education. We have a 50-year low crime rate and one of the lowest tax and debt per capita in America. But we also understand governing is not entertainment. It's not about building a brand or virtue signaling. It is about delivering results. And our results in Florida have been second to none. We can and we must deliver big results for America. I pledge to be an energetic executive that will take on the important issues. Biden's pursued inflationary policies that are hurting working people. We will reverse those policies and we'll build an economy where working Americans can achieve a good standard of living. Biden's opened the southern border and allowed massive amounts of drugs
It's closed.
to pour into the country. We'll shut down the border, construct a border wall, and hold the drug cartels accountable. Biden's embraced medical authoritarianism, such as unconstitutional COVID vax mandates. We will ensure that those violations of liberty can never happen again. Biden's allowed woke ideology to drive his agenda. We
Totally
will
woke.
never surrender to the woke mob.
Never.
We will leave woke ideology in the dustbin of history.
How many times has he said woke so far?
Military and cause recruiting to plummet. We will eliminate ideological agendas from our military, focus the military on the core mission, and we will reverse the poor recruiting trends. Finally, Biden's weaponized the power of the administrative state to advance his left-wing agenda. We will reconstitutionalize the executive branch and we'll bring the administrative state to heel. Now, you can't do any of that if you don't win. There is no substitute for victory. We must end the culture of losing that has infected the Republican Party in recent years. The tired dogmas of the past are inadequate for a vibrant future.
He sounds so natural reading this drivel.
We need the courage to lead, and we must have the strength to win. And to voters who are participating in this primary process, my pledge to you is this. If you nominate me, you can set your clock to January 20th, 2025 at high noon, because on the west side of the U.S. Capitol, I will be taking the oath of office as the 47th President of the United States. No excuses. I will get...
Oh, uh-oh. He'll get what? Another tech issue, it seems. What is he going to get? No excuses for what? I guess it's dead. He's going to get muted, apparently. Wow. Let's see if they fixed it. I guess we'll never know. Yeah, or care, exactly. Nicely done. Nicely done. The production value on this announcement is just a bit amazing. I'm sure they'll only allow verified accounts to ask questions since I don't pay the $8. I'm not verified anymore. But I'll try. I'll try to ask a question if they ever get to that. I would blame Antifa for all of this.
Each generation would have a responsibility to safeguard freedom.
You didn't even pause.
And it's our
That's the best.
responsibility to do so at this important juncture in our nation's history.
God.
We have a lot of work to do to ensure the country gets back on track. I ask
I'll
everybody
say.
listening to please join me on this mission. Please invest in our campaign by going to rondesantis.com
Take my
and
money.
making a donation. Thank you. God bless, and I look forward to the discussion.
Discussion.
All right, thank you, Governor. Appreciate that. I guess just as a first follow-up here, thank you for putting up with these technical issues. I think we're definitely breaking new ground here. As far as I know, no major presidential candidate has ever announced their candidacy on social media this.
Let's wait to see if he's a major candidate.
Thank you for doing that. What made you want to kind of take the chance of doing it this way, as opposed to just doing it on cable news or the usual way?
Well, I'm kind of a moron.
Well, when COVID hit, I had to make decisions about, do you go with the crowd or do you look at the data yourself and cut against the grain? And I chose to do the latter. I faced huge blowback for doing that from the bureaucracy, from elites, from the media. But my view is I had to look out for the people I represented, prefer protecting their jobs over trying to safeguard my own political hide. But it was very, very lonely in a lot of those decisions. And part of the reason it was so lonely is because there was a concerted
This is a really weird explanation for why are you doing this on Twitter?
narrative about lockdowns, about closing schools, about forced masking, about all these different things that we had to navigate during COVID. And it was an orthodoxy being enforced by the major tech platforms in conjunction with the federal government. And if we can't have an honest debate in a free country about issues that affect hundreds of millions of people, like lockdowns, then what good is the First Amendment at that point? Those are precise.
Did we have lockdowns? I still don't remember them.
Robust. You should not be taking down articles that criticize those draconian policies, and yet that's exactly what happened. So it occurred to me that if that had continued, I think free speech in this country was on its way out the door. And so when Elon Musk stepped up to purchase Twitter, he paid a lot of money for it. And I'm sure because he's a good businessman, Elon, I'm sure you'll end up making money off it. But bottom line is you had to put your money where your mouth is, because I think you recognize that you can't have a free society unless we have the freedom to debate the most important issues that are affecting our civilization. That did not happen during COVID. The truth was censored repeatedly. And now that Twitter is in the hands of a free speech advocate,
right,
that would not be able to happen again on this Twitter platform. So I think what was done with Twitter is really significant for the future of our country. We cannot have a society in which government is colluding with major tech platforms to enforce an orthodoxy.
Well, thank you.
I'm here because Snapchat has gone totally woke.
And just a vigorous debate. And hopefully this can be a platform that brings people of divergent political views to exchange those views. And perhaps some minds will be changed one way or the other. And but it's just incredibly...
It's a free speech platform where free speech costs $8 a month.
Irrelevant if all the media and all the government are operating in lockstep. It makes the most important amendment, the one that was most urgently added to the Constitution, moot if you cannot have free and open debate. So Twitter was indeed expensive, but free speech is priceless.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you. So, Governor, I'm going to ask some questions while we get some other kind of speakers in the queue to ask questions.
Let's see if I can try to
maybe
participate.
Some people knew this announcement was coming because there's been no shortage of hit pieces on you
Yeah.
in the press over the last week or two. I want to ask you about some of these accusations that are being leveled at you. Last week, the NAACP issued a travel advisory against your state, claiming that Florida is not a safe place for minorities to visit. What do you say to those who've been advised that somehow they aren't welcome in your
Well, they're
state?
totally wrong.
Claiming that Florida is unsafe is a total farce. I mean, are you kidding me? You look at cities around this country.
Have you gone woke?
Crime. In Florida, our crime rate is at a 50-year low. If you look at the top 25 cities for crime in America, Florida does not have a single one amongst the top 25. And if you look at cities like Baltimore and Chicago, you got kids more likely to get shot than to receive a first-class education. Yet I don't see the NAACP batting an eye about all the outrage and the carnage that's happening in those areas. So this is a political stunt. These left-wing groups have been doing it for many, many years. And at the end of the day, what they're doing is colluding with legacy media to try to manufacture a narrative. Now, the good news is fewer and fewer Americans are gullible enough to believe this dribble. And platforms like Twitter are there where people can debunk these lies in real time. And I would just say, as an American citizen, if you are uncritically accepting narratives spun by legacy media and left-wing groups, you're failing at your job of being a conscientious citizen. And I think people just see right through it. And oh, by the way, have any of these travel advisories, because they've been doing this for a while, all these left-wing groups, have any of them worked? Well, we're the #1 state for net in-migration and have been every year since I've been governor. We just capped the highest quarter for tourism in the history of the state of Florida. And our view is we want everybody to succeed regardless of their skin color. We don't divvy up people by race. At the same time, it is worth pointing out that we have in Florida more Black-owned businesses than any state in the nation. And we've also had more African Americans lead state agencies under my administration than at any time in Florida history. But with us, they're there because of merit, not because we're trying to play identity politics. And if you want to look at education, the Black students in Florida perform much higher than Black students in most other states. We rank #3 in 4th grade reading and #2 in 4th grade math amongst our black student population. And oh, by the way, the head of the NAACP
A lot of fact checking to be done here.
members have put out on social media during my governorship Florida vacations where they seem to be having an awful good time.
That's great. Well, I mean, Florida's a great state, and I think everyone, the people realize that. Some of the things that are being said are just truly absurd. I mean, I saw some headline from The Atlantic basically claiming that anyone who listens to this Spaces on Twitter is basically a Nazi.
That was The Atlantic, and then Vanity Fair said that that you were hosting or interviewing because David Duke wasn't available.
Oh yes.
Although I'm not totally sure who they were saying was David Duke. I don't know if it was you or Governor DeSantis. It's sort of a little bit unclear, but
I think this is a function of the legacy media, these corporate journals. They're in their little bubble. And to draw allusions to stuff like that, I mean, how crazy do you have to be? But in their little bubble, it sounds like they're making some type of profound point. And so part of, I think, what Twitter is standing for is people should be exposed to different viewpoints. And I think the elites in our society have tried to cluster themselves to where their assumptions are never
Certainly
challenged.
a cluster
and
here.
That's not a good way, I think, to live. It's also not a good way to be a critical thinker, because no one's ever going to question obviously wrong assumptions because everybody around you shares them.
Absolutely.
And I think they become totally hysterical because they don't like the idea that their control over the media is being, disintermediated.
Yeah.
Because now, candidates for president can just speak directly to people through platforms like Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, the amazing.
So is Elon endorsing him or not? I don't get it.
Although I happen to be hosting it, I had to switch over to David hosting it because my account was actually
there's too much interest.
My account was breaking the system, but there's really never been a mechanism before where someone could address the nation, or anyone who wanted to listen to them could from anywhere in the world.
What is he talking about? There's never been a way to do that before? Of course there has.
Change. And it's also like it's not just whether the media reports something and an article is true or not. Even more powerful is deciding what the narrative is. And
totally.
So just like if there's only so much you can actually fit in a newspaper or a magazine, and there's only one thing you can really put on the cover of a magazine. So whoever's deciding that is deciding to not talk about other things. Whereas with a public digital town square like we have here, it's possible for the public to choose the narrative. It empowers the people instead of a very tiny elite cabal, which I don't recognize the irony of me using that phrase. But nonetheless,
it's like a Twitter promo.
True, and you judge by the results that this is a means for the people to decide the narrative, and for the people to decide which way a debate will go. Not sort of 5 editors-in-chiefs of a few newspapers, basically.
Yeah, and I think one of the really crazy things that happened during COVID is that.
Have you guys noticed that DeSantis hasn't said a word for a while? This is just such an abortive attempt at an announcement.
Viewpoints that ended up being totally correct in lockstep with what the mainstream media was doing. So basically, big tech platforms were undermining their main reason for existing, which is giving people a choice. And actually, there's somebody who I think knows more about that than any of us, which is Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, who's a professor of medicine at Stanford.
Oh, no.
I want to pull him in here. Jake,
go ahead and unmute. Are they going to do like anti-vax right now?
To hear from you. I know that during COVID, you worked with Governor DeSantis. It'd be great just to hear a little bit about your interactions and if you have a question for the governor.
If you have a question.
Yeah, thank you, David. Yeah, I mean, it was an absolute honor to work with Governor DeSantis, and I was really impressed by his decision making in the face of an absolute firestorm of criticism. But Governor, you did the right thing when you opened the schools. And my kids in California for a year and a half didn't see the inside of a classroom, whereas Florida kids were in school. And you can see it in the results, and the learning loss numbers are so much better in Florida. I'm really curious, Governor, as you're running for president, what are your thoughts about reforming, the public health authority in the United States and the federal government, the CDC, the FDA?
Well, I'm totally for it. Medication has gone woke. They're giving kids pink-colored antibiotics because they're pushing gender theory. They're giving boys pink bubblegum antibiotics.
An honest reckoning about what happened during COVID. And the only honest reckoning is that all of those agencies, all of the elites, the public health establishment, they failed. They instituted bad policies. Obviously, it's a novel virus, but I think what happened was when the data was becoming more and more apparent that the path they were on was wrong, they doubled down and wanted to do it even more. And I really believe had Florida not just kind of stood in the way, I think this country would have had rolling lockdowns for probably a 2-year period. And so their impulses were authoritarian. They were not following the data. And I think the U.S. government needs to acknowledge the failures. And I think all of those agencies need to be cleaned out. What I saw just dealing with them was I saw a interest in the narrative and in politics over evidence-based reasoning and evidence-based medicine. And so I don't have confidence that those agencies are up to the task. And I think you need major overhaul of the whole enchilada with respect to public health in this country.
We're not going to do those soft shell tacos. No way. Not in Florida.
The other thing that I saw during the pandemic, Governor, and you was subject to it just as much as I was when we were talking about COVID. YouTube censored a video of us speaking about in a roundtable that you hosted on COVID policy. There's so much of the federal government infrastructure went into suppressing honest scientific discussion during the pandemic. So it's not just public health agencies, but other agencies inside the federal government that worked to suppress the speech of Americans. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about that.
No question. So I'm actually in Florida. We recognize the danger there. So I'm actually going to be signing a digital Bill of Rights for Florida pretty soon, which will bar all state and local government officials from colluding or working with a technology company for the purpose of censorship of speech. Because you're exactly right. You had people in the White House, you had people in all these other agencies working with these platforms to try to take it down. And oh, by the way, what did they censor Dr. Bhattacharya for? It was a roundtable discussion that I led and convened. We had Dr. Bhattacharya, MD, PhD from Stanford. We had Martin Kaldorf from Harvard Medical School, and we had Sinetra.
It looks like this Christopher Rufo guy is going to be the next person to speak. We'll see what the deal is with that.
Until she became anti-lockdown. So these are all eminent people. And what are we discussing? We're discussing whether there's any scientific basis to force a school child to wear a mask for 8 hours a day. They all agreed there was no basis to do it and that you should not have school mask mandates. YouTube thought that that was, quote, anti-science and that should be taken down. But even at that point, we had already had enough experience in Florida where you had some schools that had done it before the state banned the mandates. You had some schools that had done it, some schools didn't, and the results were no different. And yet his video was taken down by Google, YouTube. So it was a huge problem. And yes,
this is a lot of whining. I don't know about you guys, but it's like, are we going to do anything other than whine here?
Unconstitutional for them to be delegating speech restriction to a private company. You can't do indirectly what the Constitution would clearly forbid you to do directly.
Let me pull in. We have Congressman Thomas Massey.
Oh God!
If you're there,
he's a lunatic.
Go ahead and unmute yourself. I mean, what we're talking about here is, I think, really unconstitutional actions by federal agencies. Congressman Massey, I know that you've been involved in this problem of government agencies being weaponized and used against the American people in an inappropriate way. Do you have a comment on this? And do you have a question for Governor DeSantis?
Well, first of all, let me say a big thank you to Elon Musk for buying Twitter and exposing all of this. On our weaponization committee, we wouldn't know so much of it if he hadn't done this. almost as a public service to the First Amendment.
Right.
It's a disturbing trend. Government, as the government
Someone should pay Elon Musk for the public service of buying Twitter.
found out this week from an FBI whistleblower that Bank of America voluntarily gave names of and information on anybody who bought a hot dog in Washington, D.C. from January 5th to January 7th, and then overlaid that with gun purchases that they had on record anywhere in the country for any period of
Pretty
time.
smart.
They say they voluntarily gave that to the FBI. So that's disturbing to me. By the way, I've never met Elon Musk, but I'm one of your biggest fans. I'm the first congressman to have a Tesla. I'm on Starlink, and I would have bought a Powerwall, but I'm off the grid. And
This seems awkward because like DeSantis and his followers don't really like electric vehicles. So the Tesla element is going to be an interesting one.
And just for the record, I was with Thomas our first year in Congress. He's got the Tesla, but his license plate is Kentucky Coal. So it's he's probably one of the only people that have that.
Disgusting.
Thanks for outing me,
Disgusting.
Governor DeSantis. But no, so Governor DeSantis, my question to you is, you served here in Congress for 6 years with me. And why is it that Congress is so feckless at reining in these government agencies? And what do you think we need to do? And if you were president, what would you urge Congress, or what bills would you like to see and sign to rein in this, sort of overreach of government bureaucracy?
Well, first, I think there's a lot that the executive branch can do, and all I will say when it comes to these agencies, we'll go into this a little bit more as the campaign goes on. But buckle up when I get in there, because the status quo is not acceptable, and we are going to make sure that we reconstitutionalize this government. And these agencies are totally out of control. There's no accountability, and we are going to bring that in a very big way. Now, part of the reason it's gotten so bad, power has been consolidated and effectively a fourth branch of government, because Congress hasn't used its two main powers that it has under the Constitution. First, the power of the purse. If an agency is engaging in conduct that is outside the realm of what is legal, or you think it's not good for the public interest, then you can remove the funding for those operations. There's nothing that they're not entitled to get the same level of funding every year, and yet Congress runs the government on autopilot, either continuing resolutions or massive omnibus spending bills. So these agencies are all bulletproof. They know that they're going to end up getting something similar or more every single year, and it creates an incentive for them to abuse their power. The other thing you can do is actually legislate, so you're not delegating to the bureaucracy key issues regarding how to enforce federal law. You should define what you want. All they should be doing is implementing. Instead, Congress will basically give an invitation for the bureaucracy to make really important substantive decisions. And so Congress may never vote on something, and the bureaucracy will cite a law from 20 years ago and do things that are going to transform our society or our country. That is not the way the founding fathers drew up the Constitution.
All right, guys. Well, I think I've seen enough. People are starting to get fatigued from this. One of the worst presidential announcements that I've ever seen. It has the feeling of the end of a campaign, not the beginning. It feels completely dead on arrival. They are just corrosively lying and promoting Elon Musk, essentially, and throwing bouquets at each other. We get the picture, okay? Trump's losing his mind on Truth Central. We'll cover all of it tomorrow. I don't know that we need to keep doing this. So it's pretty horrifying. This is going to be the most insane and disgusting Republican primary that I will have ever covered. That's abundantly clear. But this is very, very disgusting in every single way, and also completely uninspiring in any way. DeSantis is so uninspiring. It's hard to be. Trump at least says things that fire people up. They're crazy things. They're completely insane things, but at least they fire people up. So we'll be back tomorrow. We'll cover it. If people need mercy bans because this has been so crazy, you can request it from the moderators. And it's hard to imagine this will generate too many new supporters for DeSantis. So we'll follow all of it. Appreciate you joining me. I don't know that we learned anything other than Twitter Spaces glitched badly. But I appreciate you being here with me. We'll see everybody very soon.